So I'd like to first welcome you today and thank you for coming out to this PD. The topic of today's professional development is summaries, and again, using Judith Hockman's strategies to teach kids how to summarize. Often, as teachers, we tell kids to summarize, but they don't necessarily know what that means or how to do it. So we're going to look at what an actual definition of a summary, both oral and written, is. So again, summaries are brief statements that presents the main points in a concise form. It's a synopsis or a recap that is obviously shorter version than the original, and it is a condensed presentation of the substance of a body of material. So that's what the purpose of a summary is. What research shows us is that when students learn how to summarize, it actually improves their reading comprehension. So you're doing two things at once. When teaching kids how to write summaries, they actually start reading better.
Okay, so like Dina said, oftentimes we'll have students summarize and they don't really know what that means to do. And there's certain prerequisite skills that they have to have in order to be able to summarize. And one of those skills would be the ability to distinguish the difference between non-essential and less essential text. And also to determine what text is redundant, what is repetitive information, because as we get to the Common Core, they're going to be reading much larger text. Oftentimes in that text there's irrelevant information that isn't as essential. They might keep repeating the same thing over and over again, so the students have to have the ability to be able to pull the relevant and essential details out. And that's why we've done some early activities for them to practice just this one skill of determining essential from less essential information.
And like all the other skills we do, there are prerequisites to summarizing. So I'm going to look at the first three. So students are going to have background information. That is why we never introduce a summary activity as the first introduction to the content, right? We teach the content first, and then we'll do like a summarizing activity. And then, of course, they have to have the ability to decode and underline effectively. Those are like some of the main prerequisite skills that they'll need.
Also, because they're summarizing, they have to be able to read a text and paraphrase. They have to take a much larger material, read it, understand the meaning of it, and paraphrase it into their own words. And this is also where the note-taking is so key. They have to be able to take notes efficiently. And that's why we devote so much time to practicing those note-taking skills, because as they're reading these texts and summarizing, they're going to have to be able to take notes on the essential points. All right, so there are two summary activities that we wanted to show you today. And the first is the new summary sentence. If you take a look at it, it looks very similar to the sentence expansion skill that we've done in the past. The only difference between this and sentence expansion is with sentence expansion, you give them a very simple sentence and have them expand on it by answering the question words. In this case, they're reading an article, and as they read the article, they're answering who or what is the article about, what did they do, where is this happening, when, why, and how. In the beginning, you might have to give the students the who or what it's about. Oftentimes they get confused about the subject of the material, and if they get the subject incorrect, they're not going to be able to do the rest of this. So oftentimes, as you go through the article, you might have to fill in for them the who or the what, and then they should be able to do this. Once they have all this information, they combine it together into what becomes a one-sentence summary of the article. And we always encourage them, just with sentence expansion, if you have the when, start with the when. Given that as they're reading in literature, most times writers start with the when. That's what they're going to see most frequently. So we encourage them to combine this with the when. So they're really excited when we show them this, because you could give them a large article and say, I can give you a way to summarize this whole thing in just one sentence. And it really covers the main point of the article. Then you can move on to the next news article activity, which is the news article summary. If you notice, you still have this who, what, where activity where they combine it into a one-sentence summary, but it takes it to the next level because now they pull 4 relevant details from the article. If you notice, the details have the ellipses, the dotted lines, because they're going to write down their notes and keywords and phrases. They're not going to write full sentences. And then also they create a concluding sentence. And in this case, the concluding sentence is why is the article important. So you're going to notice here that we're really seeing 2 activities that we've worked on combined, sentence expansion, and also if you notice this looks just like a quick outline. If you wanted to take it a next step, you could now have them take from here down and convert this into a paragraph. They would have their topic sentence, 4 relevant details, and their concluding statement.
So we're going to ask you now is for you to try it. So if you can take out the article titled Major Tornado Hits Oklahoma, we're going to ask you to read it, underline keywords and phrases, and then answer those questions in front of you. The who, what, where. Imagine this was your classroom, right? The first thing you would do is have the students fill in the article headline, which should have been Major Tornado Hits Oklahoma. And then the next step would be to have them fill in the source and date. This came from Scholastic's News Online. So now, who would be the brave volunteer to tell us the who or what? Okay.
Tornado.
So we had that as well. Did what?
I put rip through Oklahoma City.
Okay, good. Anyone else?
I put 20-mile path of destruction.
Anything?
I put caused chaos and destruction.
Perfect. And you had destruction. And that's what we had. So all of them are good. That would work. The when would have been May 20th. The where? Right, Oklahoma City. And the why, we could have had different responses for the why as well. What did you have for the why?
High winds.
High winds. Anybody have anything different? Or I know that you had.
Yeah, I put a complex weather event formed inside a thunderstorm. That's what it says the definition is.
Okay, yeah, so you just described it with a little bit of detail. Okay, we were similar to yours. We had high wind speeds.
And then here, we didn't really find the how. So when that happens, you could easily tell kids to just not applicable.
Yeah.
You could do an NA.
Or oftentimes, too, it'll start to get a little redundant or a little too lengthy if they both do the why and the how. So depending on the article that you choose, you might direct them and say, choose either one, or you might tell them, do the why and just put NA for the how.
So I'm curious to hear your sentences. So would anyone share the sentence? Christine.
On May 20th, 2013, a tornado or a complex weather event formed inside a thunderstorm caused destruction inside Oklahoma City.
Nice.
Very good.
Very nice.
And I like how you took the why and turned it into a positive, which if our kids did that, we would be like,
Right.
absolutely
Right.
thrilled. That's very cool.
Excellent. Anyone have a different one? Steve.
On May 20th, a tornado destroyed hundreds of homes in Oklahoma City because of its high wind speed.
Nice. Anybody else? Okay, so we had on May 20th, the tornado caused destruction in Oklahoma City due to its high wind speeds. So you can see the brilliance of this activity because really kids just took a very lengthy article and got it down to one sentence. And that one sentence really summed up the article, right? So now we're going to take it a step further. So what we'll ask you to do is inside that article, number 4 details. Who can be a brave volunteer and give us the first detail they selected? I'll stop you both, Christine.
Neighborhoods were leveled. No symbols needed.
Okay, and we would encourage the kids, if it's note-taking, like
Equal, leveled.
Okay.
I started this paragraph, this sentence above her, and I put down powerful storm with the arrow led to homes destroyed, plus tourist cars, plus ravaged buildings.
Okay, yeah, that's great.
So again, you had homes destroyed.
Homes destroyed, what else did I put? Homes destroyed,
Plus
cars, and ravaged buildings. Plus.
Just call it.
Tossed cars, tossed, plus ravaged buildings.
Great.
And that would be okay too, like even if they were to transfer it, like this might be the lead-in sentence, neighborhoods were leveled, and then they could use a transition, like in particular, homes were destroyed, as like more like specific detail, that's fine.
I have emergency workers equal searching for people.
Again, abbreviate wherever you can.
And then we'll go on more. And
I put about the president getting involved because
Okay.
it shows how bad the storm was. So I had President Obama declared federal disaster area, and then I put an equal sign and just defined what that meant.
so then you had equals,
Equals, I had national government sends aid to counties.
and you probably even, what
Yeah.
symbol could you use to represent that?
National government arrow, and you can even abbreviate money, put the money sign
Sure.
to counties.
Yep. So you see what this looks like when they're taking it from text?
I got a question.
Yes.
Does it have to be in order, like, as it's written here, or just details? Remember, like, this Chrissy's thing was after mine, but there before mine. Does it matter what order it goes in on the details?
I would say for the purpose, like if they were to take this and transfer it, if chronologically the details don't make sense, they could always go back, because keep in mind this is like an outline, they could always go back and reorder the numbers. In this case, we're talking about all different effects, so I think they could be interchanged in their order.
Right. I don't know if I put President Obama first, because
Yeah.
I might want to explain all the things that happened to Oklahoma first, then he comes in and says, we need a federal disaster area. That was excellent.
Yeah.
Very good. I love you, isn't it, saying that? Very good. Okay, so now the closing sentence. So this is very different than what we've done before, and I'm going to ask you to start the closing sentence with a subordinating conjunction. Either using something like while, although, and then finish it by thinking about why we're reading this article. All right, so would anyone like to share their closing sentence? Christy.
While tornadoes can be extremely devastating, thankfully there are steps to keep yourself and loved ones safe from disaster.
Yeah.
Very nice. And?
Good. Yeah, I started with since as well. I
Okay.
said, since tornadoes can strike with little warning, it is important to take steps to protect themselves from these dangerous storms.
Great, and very similar to the both of you with this coordinating conjunction. Do you mind if I write this?
Sure.
Excellent. Great. Excellent. Anybody else?
Anybody else want to share? Christine?
Although Oklahoma's tornado caused destruction and death, it is important to know that there are steps to take in order to keep you safe during this type of natural disaster.
Great.
Excellent. So first I'd like to thank you for coming out today for this PD. I really feel strongly that teachers need to learn these skills and be trained in these skills as well. And I think I encourage you to use this in your classrooms, and I hope that it was helpful. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.